fellas, can I come back inside already? There's nothing wrong with me.
Shut it, freak! We lost 8 men because of your insatiable hunger. Communications are busted, and Holoska doesn't even have a town to extract to.
We're trapped out here in this big icy wasteland.
Trapped with you, alien.
Oh, come on. I'm not the alien. It's the Husky from the Norwegian Camp.
I don't know what you're talking about.
See? No normal person talks like that.
Hey, he's been with us for hours, and we only lost him like a couple of times.
You don't even know his name.
I am Johnson.
Yeah, Johnson, just like our dead radar tech. Oh, you're even wearing his suit.
I love all 12 of you guys.
No, Johnson, there's only 4 of us left, remember?
Or should I say 3?
He's gonna kill you.
Shut up! Johnson's got our back, no matter what.
Everyone, please close eyes and turn around.
Okay, Johnson, but real quick.
Here we go.
Johnson, no! We still need to figure out who the alien is!
Alright, give it to me straight, Husky. You're with the black arms, right?
No, I'm just Norwegian.
Hey, you still gotta let me out of here. Hello? Cool Edge is a slipping and sliding good time. It's an early stage, but it doesn't hold back on spectacle. Everything is big in the Arctic. The water, the whales, even the popsicles. And when we see Sonic cross big at such high speeds, we feel so dang fast. This level has a lot of boosting forward, all things considered, and with a lot of empty paths, not much is gonna freeze you up. However, when taking place in Holoska, I think that was purposeful. But where is Holoska? Cool Edge slices off in the frigid village of Holoska's village. There's a lot of places Holoska is pulling from: Alaska, Antarctica, Finland, Greenland, but the main inspiration is the Inuit villages of the Arctic. Thank you, Wiki. We got penguins, whales, bobsleds, all the native wildlife, but it's also the one stage in Unleashed that can clearly be labeled with a zone genre. Ice. This is an ice stage, for the most part. If you slip this into any other Sonic game, you might not even know this thing was on Earth. See, Cool Edge sort of stands out among the pack because it doesn't really have you running through an inhabited space. Sure, you got an igloo here and there, but this Sub-Zero stage feels more like it takes place on the outskirts of town, rather than in it. While this can be seen as a detriment, I do think it is a purposeful approach, not a mistake, because it enhances the main motif this time around. Big. Cool Edge is big. Holoska is huge. When you show a lot of big and empty, you feel so small. Nearly every segment is designed to make you experience the space. In fact, the only time they really close you up is when you get on that sled, and we'll talk about the sled, don't worry. It's just such a clever stop on our world adventure, one where you are overwhelmed by the geography of our planet. Not the culture, not the architecture, literally the landscape, stretching and collapsing into the ice-cold waters of the Antarctic Atlantic Ocean. I don't know. And if Cool Edge is big, then we better get a head start on our journey and get into the level, so prepare to be humbled by snow. But yo, we gotta listen to some tunes first. Cool Edge Day. Crazy fast bass, crazy paced drums. If there's one thing I see when I hear this, it's Sonic powerhousing his legs on a slippery sheet of ice. The level even begins with Sonic already running, so it's an easy comparison. Then you got the shredding guitar that punches you with each riff, and it sounds like it's building to something heinous. But suddenly, it gets quaint. You get these cute little chimes sounding off. The drums are still thrashing out. They even break from the background here and there, with the guitar's help. However, the tune of the chimes is the big player here, and their festive melody becomes the centerpiece. Yay! But eventually, all the instruments build up together until we get that main Cool Edge melody, where the chimes are now echoing through those icy caverns, eh? I'm on a roll. And even if the drums and guitar are still keeping the same pace, they match up with the melody. Kind of a fun reveal after hearing them lead the start so much. And once the melody finally crescendos, they let the background guitar take the stage again, and the song sort of repeats. It definitely showers you with that winter vibe. The chimes especially. You get visions of the holidays. Warm, fuzzy feeling in a cold environment. It's honestly kind of sweet. But the thing that keeps it all together for me is how hard the guitar sounds. Every riff is like obnoxiously strong. I love it. And when looking at the rest of the day stages, it's the one song that resembles the soundtracks of the old games the most. Like, if I squint my eardrums, I can almost hear an adventure song in there. It kinda matches up with the Ice Cap Avalanche from SA1, same wild guitar. Or even Wave Ocean, believe it or not. The Mach speed guitar there sounds very similar. It's just got this strange hard rock foundation riding behind that jolly Christmas jingle. And it's a funny contrast, a comical contrast. Gotta get my alliteration in there. So, it's a song that always brings a smile to my face. But the analysis, oh lord. Enough with the song and onto the track, the level, you know what I mean. Let's just set foot on this frigid environment already and tackle our first set piece, the Arctic Expanse. So, if you've been watching this series, then you know I've talked about this initial shot a whole lot. Mainly because it's a great example of how a simple swing of the camera can emphasize a vibe. And we see it with a lot of little touches here. First of which being how empty the expanse is. You capture no man-made structures, no hints of the Holoska village. It's just flat, empty ice, stretching so far that the background gets blurry. You don't even get an igloo when we finish, just these far-off snowmen covered by this hill. The next thing they do is shrink Sonic and tuck him in the corner. Now, the snow covers half the screen, and since we're focusing on the go, we're drawn to the landscape behind it. And let's talk about that go, because it's the only one in Unleashed that completes before we see the main path. Typically when we hear go, we see the track, but Cool Edge holds on the landscape. Sonic shouting the word go is what swings our camera into place. And the last wonderful little touch, Sonic is already running. He is not launching off from a cramped location like all the other levels, so it sort of suggests that Sonic needs a head start just to get a jump on this massive location. When I played this stage for the first time, I couldn't believe how large they made this area. It was astonishing. In reality, the Arctic Expanse is just a straight line. You can't run off and start any expeditions. So let's focus on the road ahead. A long, billowy runway with hazards off to our sides, and some poor robots. If we map it out, it's incredibly easy. But this map isn't very topographic, is it? Because when we view it in 3D, we see Arctic Expanse's secret weapon, hills. They attack both the X and Y axis. You descend and climb from the indents, but they're also uneven from left to right, which gives us these little tilts. See that? The bounciness of the hills is what gives our spikes a sense of danger, or they would if the render distance didn't take the blame on this one. Co-conspirator here is definitely the objects, though. Some are positioned deliberately to hide them, but the icy viscera of the snowmen is what really blocks your eyes. If you're boosting straight, the only real lane switch you gotta make is this one, which is timed right when the song kicks off. It's like you hit play on the track. It's awesome, but there's not much left of the expanse. Otherwise, we swap our snowmen for Eggman, and Sonic goes swimming. Finally, let's mention that horizon, huh? I don't know if they're exactly mountains, monuments, or just big old cubes, but these piles of rocks are stacked all around Holoska. They create this hypothetical forest around you in the expanse, and a pointy canvas on the later 2D section. Okay, you see it, I see it. Let's talk about that big pointy rock way back. Cool Edge is obsessed with two shapes, triangles and circles. You run through a lot of tunnels, you're surrounded by a lot of jagged ice rock chunk piles. Arctic Expanse already has those triangles, and even the big boy in the distance sort of outlines half of a circle. It's a bit of a stretch, but we're gonna see it outlined a lot more in Cool Edge, so keep your eyes peeled. But let's peel back the track and try and justify this line. The Arctic Expanse is a rather tame starter. If you just hold boost, you're off to the next section in 10 seconds. But I keep thinking back to that initial shot. It's so wide, so expansive. And I believe that's the point here, to immediately make you feel small in Holoska. Look at what we see when we gain control. Nothing. Just this flat, empty wasteland, a couple of rings, and maybe some snowmen. It feels like Sonic got lost, like he's truly in the wilderness now. That mountain looks miles away, but we get there in 10 seconds. We get to experience how fast Sonic is practically by clearing a huge space, which is Cool Edge's directive altogether. Plus, it's just a lot of fun to boost down a bunch of undulating slopes, isn't it? Reminiscent of Windmill Isle's tutorial, the smallest humps and hurdles can make your progression feel like a wild roller coaster. But look out! Water! Since this is pre-Dragon Road, the stream here has unleashed its first water run, so it's a bit of a surprise. Short-lived, however. We'll get a better moment later on. For now, we're crossing the icy waters, and we're actually speeding into another section, the Polar Pipeline. Can you tell I recorded this on a different day? This part was originally tied into the Expanse, but it's not very expansive, is it? However, there are a couple of things I want to note, so let's give it a quick rinse. First of which being the starting jump. You get a lot of cinematic flair for just holding X. A couple of party poppers lost on their expedition will give you 2 explosions to twirl through as you take the dash ramp. And look how much they swing the camera for the first jump. 3D, 2D, tilt down, swing ahead, track hog, return to position. Maybe a little excessive, but let's step out of Cool Edge for a bit and commend Unleashed altogether, because Sonic's blue boost effect makes this whole process easy to track. He's moving all over the place, but we never lose him. Next, Adam talking point, the ice blocks. Let's speak on your death. Most likely, as these track elements make platforming deceptive. You can boost and launch off the first because the dash rings will save you, but there are no dash rings on the second. Without your wall jump, you're bonking hard and falling down, with this active ice in the background. You see, Cool Edge mimics the ice calving of real-life glaciers. Probably said that wrong too. I'm not gonna look that up. You think I'm trying to make you smarter? Alright, fine, it is ice calving. Or is it calving? Who cares? Marine biologists, get off my dick! Anyways, Cool Edge mimics the ice calving of real-life glaciers. That's when bulgy blocks of ice shed their skin and become big, beautiful butterflies. Again, we'll get clear calving later, but we get our first taste in the polar pipeline. Finally, onto the part that always kills me, and by that, I mean my run, because you know I'm getting my timing wrong and jumping into this asshole. So, what you're supposed to do is hit the tiny hop and soar under his sparks. But I suck ass at the tiny hop, so another solution is to literally just bonk the ledge, fall down, and boost forward. 2 egg fighters stomp below, but they're not gonna give you any trouble. Also, I don't think you can even jump and kill this guy. I always go through him. Am I crazy? Yeah, whatever. After that, it's a pop-up and you're out of Polar Pipeline. Round of applause. Good job, guys. And Polar Pipeline is a short 2D stint that only requires you to really participate halfway through. The early jump is an on-rails visual flourish. Helpful to inspect if you want to see how useful that blue boost glow is. But you're really just pressing A to overcome the pipeline. They are some pretty tight A's, if I do say so myself. When I bungle my runs, it's at the pipeline. I get cocky on the blocks and hit this electric jester. The Polar Pipeline still feels part of the rhythm, however, as now we're at that big pointy triangle from the horizon. And that is our big here, because it's so big, it blocks out the background for a majority of the line. It acts as a nice 1-2 punch when combined with the expanse. Look how far away this big thing is, and look how long it takes to pass it. Also, nice to slip around for a bit. The stage doesn't do that enough, but we're about to hit the part where Cool Edge does it the most. Prepare the line for curves. And you know Sonic knows how to handle curves. As we slide into the slippery speedway. Start your engines. It's time to fly off course. It's a cold level in a video game, so you know we gotta get slippery. There are so many wild, massive bends on this racetrack, and we're gonna feel one immediately. And wouldn't you know it, it's because of the camera. I mean the track too. The ice will drag our feet all over the place, which can look funny when you boost our boy in an opposing direction. But the cinematographer stays close to the quills on this segment. Sonic's boost stretches out the surroundings and lets the floor consume the screen as we fly under this overhang. And 2 more things. 1, check out the sunbeams spilling out. The speedway is unfortunately covered under a lot of shadow, but when the ice cracks and the rays shine, we get a nice reminder of the powerful sun tracking us in Cool Edge. 2, and this is neat, they reduce the amount of dash pads on the tighter turns. Not only does this require a bit more precision for our thumbstick, but it also makes the turns themselves feel tighter. Like they squeezed those 5 sets down to 3 as you feel the G's. It's like a roller coaster. You know I gotta reference roller coasters. What's my roller coaster cap for this one? Oh god, what? I'm already over the limit. How the hell am I gonna talk about this curve? It's my favorite. I mean, look at how steep this dang thing is. It does not seem physically possible to climb up this flat sheet of baby blue, but with our Mach speeds, we can. For once, the camera pulls back and gets wide to show how tall this bend is. It's so steep, in fact, that Sonic starts doing his wall run animation just to stay upright. And would you look at this shot? Slippery speedway all in one. Like, just from this picture, you know how this game handles. You can feel those curves through the screen. Now, in terms of the speedway's layout, you won't run into too much danger. You can run off, but the slopes are directed pretty specifically to keep you from getting frosty. And the enemies aren't going to slow you down either, which means no hazards, but a lot of track elements, rings and dash pads, pretty close to one another. They're hard to catch all in one go, so there's a lot of replay potential for picking your own routes on this thing. And one route is sneaky. Some people are calling it a shortcut. Check this out. When our perspective shifts at the start, look left. You will see an ice wall looking fragile. Boost through this thing and you will soar over the first straight and along the second. But this shortcut is covered in enemies, and a specific one I want to mention. The Egg Blizzard is this little fan freak that can freeze you during your run, during your boost, which creates a legit obstacle when you're just brain off blasting through enemies. Now, he sure is annoying. I'll make sure I say that. But but I do respect that we're finally coming against a robot that discourages boost to win. For once, you have to navigate within these enemy packs rather than just sprinting through them. Maybe they could have tweaked the dead stop, maybe you could have slid as an ice cube, I don't know. But I still like the idea of this enemy, and I kind of wish they used him more. So I gotta give a shout out to the guy everyone hates. Good job, loser. All in all, the Speedway knows how to show us a good time, doesn't it? Since most curves direct you with the dash pads, it's smooth, slippery sailing all the way through. And I wish they did this more in Cool Edge. You never see these big fun curves ever again. It's all straight sprinting after this. It feels like a training course for another challenge later in the level, but we only experience these curves here. However, if Holoska is selling us big, then the Speedway is doing that tenfold. Cool Edge will often give you a lot of free space to navigate. Now this reduces the difficulty, obviously, but with such an empty area, it helps contrast the lone tiny Sonic running around within it. And I believe we see that here, especially on that second curve. I mean, look how tall this is. This thing looks like it should be in Cross Worlds. 20 carts should be taking this bend and throwing shit at each other. But no, it's just a close-up shot of a single Sonic sliding down this giant track. Oh, it's good. Before we move on, I gotta get my whining in. It's an Ajax video, of course. Completing the Speedway will give us a combat room where we're finally forced to use that stomp move. And it's not fun. Since you're hyped from the Speedway, you'll most likely overshoot and fall into the sights of these guys. Turrets that keep firing as you keep stomping. And when you try to get rid of them, they just scurry back to hell. Now this area is also effectively a tutorial on how to kill these turrets, because you can't just stomp them to keep them from coming up. But this is Sonic Unleashed, who wants to slow down, stand in one spot, and use one move to keep going. You probably want to just hit the switch and move on. It's just so mean. Considering this is your first in-level stomp switch, this room feels like it should come at the end of the act. And the act of switch stomping, not my favorite either. I think you can flow into this mechanic well, and Cool Edge even demonstrates this later on. It's a minor annoyance, and you can pass it fast. It just always seemed like a roadblock to me, and I was curious if anyone else felt this way. But hey, now on to everyone's favorite segment. Hold on to your handles, because we're watching some Cool Runnings. Part 1, bobsledding. Where's everyone going? If anyone dislikes Cool Edge, they point to this. It takes up half of the level's runtime, the camera is deceptive, and you know you're not going as fast as you could be on your Sonic the Hedge legs. I only mention all this because I believe people's complaints are valid. Switching up playstyles during a Sonic zone is nothing new, but it doesn't really happen in any other Unleashed stage. And because of that, Cool Edge does not look like Cool Edge for many players. It looks like the bobsled level. Okay, bobsledding is in Eggman Land 2, but Eggman Land is certainly not the bobsled level. I think we can all agree on that. Whew. Anyways, with the general critiques out of the way, I do see this as one of the better bonus playstyles. And for one big reason, it keeps you moving. Unleashed is all about that speed, and this mechanic is based around sudden reactions. So, bobsledding doesn't feel too out of place when compared to the overall rhythm of Cool Edge. But that's a lot of sleigh speak. Let's speak on this sled section as a whole. A whole of 2 parts, because it goes 2D, but 3D first. Once the wall opens up, we see Cool Edge's circle, and Sonic enters the vehicle. Sometimes he does a little flip on the bobsled, and I don't even know how to do that. I didn't even look it up. Okay, I did look it up, and I think you need to just spam X off a jump, or maybe in the air. Now that is an Ajax original. Oh, come on! So Cool Runnings Part 1 is pretty short. The 3D only has 3 turns, and then we go whale bouncing. The enemies in the chute will never hit you. The goal instead is to aim your slippery sleigh into them to rack up points. There's also these purple spike balls. Your first set hangs on the sides, so it's easy to avoid. The next set sits in the center, and they startle ya because of that damn cinematic camera. You're directed towards the robots which sit in the center. Since Unleashed's camera is so tight, the POV creeps along. It does not snap fast, which means you're catching the spike balls here, and your momentum is gonna drag you right into them. However, jumping is an option, or just fight the thumbstick and force yourself onto the sides. Our final turn is empty and sends us to some dash ramps, and then it's whale time. I love this guy. I love his brother a little more because he screams at us, but this guy is cool too. You grind on his back and he tail flips you into the 2D portion. The whales are a very iconic part of Cool Edge. They're effective at emphasizing the vibe of the level too. Big landscapes. Everything is so big here. The ocean is huge, obstructed by no islands. The massive glacier gives you no shot of the sky. And that whale, you don't even see his face, just his spine. He looks more like a mountain than a mammal. Whales are mammals, not fish. Whales ice calculate Alvin, you're learning so much this episode. Now let's talk about global warming. So the whale spectacle, even if it stops us for 10 seconds, feels pretty in line with what Cool Edge is going for. Big. As for the actual sledding of Cool Runnings Part 1, I think the camera can be a little nasty, but as I said, the speed is still there, and it takes some finesse to collect what the slide is offering. But we want to look at Cool Runnings as a whole, so let's land down in Cool Runnings Part 2. Surprise! They made a sequel, and it's all sideways. First off, oh my god, so many penguins. This is what I live for. Second off, great start with blasting through the snowball, letting all those physics pieces fly. Third off, hills, lots of hills, fun little bumps that you're gonna want to use. Not that you can gain any speed from it, but if you jump at the top, you will grab rings and smash spinners. If you miss these guys, don't worry, the next dash ramp is gonna force you to murder one. Anyways, things get quiet for a bit until we hit 2 big ice walls. Crash through them, and we face more pits. But let's get crazy and jump at our second wall. Oh god, we're killing and climbing up onto a higher path that just drops you back down below. I know technically there is a sun medal up there. I know the spinners give you like 5 cents. It's just got no flourish, okay? And I quickly want to mention sneaky snow camouflage here. You see this overhang in the foreground? It blocks our spinners. A little triangle right there. Onto the last sleigh spot with more visual trickery. The way the ice is split here, the pits look pretty connected until the final moments. The solution isn't hard, however, and our last jump will dash us onto a ramp, and Sonic rides the blast into our next segment. But that is Cool Runnings Part 2, and this 2D section is a little lackluster in my opinion. The 3D portions of the sled require a lot of control, but sideways sledding is fixed, so it's just about well-timed hops. The only split in all of Cool Runnings comes at the ice walls, and even a success takes you nowhere. If you already got the medal, it's pretty much an empty path, which drops you back onto the main track. So unfortunately, I don't think sledding works as well in the second dimension, at least with what they presented to us in this level. It's paced awkwardly as well. There's a lot of downtime where you're just watching Sonic zoom ahead automatically. Cool Runnings as a whole does at least give us a diverse coupling of sledding mechanics with the 2 dimensions. But I'd imagine everyone's main gripe with this section is that it goes on for a while. To visualize this, let's look at my editing timeline. Here is Cool Edge, from iPad to Goal Ring. This is Cool Runnings, and this chunk is the later bobsled run. Do you see what I mean? I believe bobsled hate just comes from how much it's featured. The actual mechanic is serviceable and actually kind of fun. I like that I have to work to hit my enemies. The narrow course and the slippery ice keeps the speed up, so it feels related to my running. Just not sideways, not my thing. I'll have better things to say about it later on, but for now, we must let it die as we march forward into a big circle with falling triangles. Look out! It's our next section, Icicle Impalement. Okay, this is column collapse territory that it takes like 5 seconds to run through, but it's a highlight in Cool Edge for me, so let's at least speak on it a little bit. Essentially, you got a long winding corridor, 2 holes, and some big falling tops. That being said, the space is very wide. There's a lot of room for error here. So Icicle Impalement takes from Arctic Expanse. Our main antagonist is the hills. The tunnel is not straight. There are bends and descents, each hiding the next icicle ready to stick ya. The icicles do get a wiggle animation, but they're also clear, so they blend into the ceiling. You'll be fine with triangles 1 and 2, but the next set could give you some trouble, and for good reason. These are dropped on an incline, not a descent. See how these have so much room to fall? Now look at these. The ground is practically already under them. It's not that they fall fast, they just don't have much fall to get through. And our last set hides another nasty trick. This dude always seems to get you, right? But why? Why, Adam, why? Well, every icicle shakes back and forth around 3 times before it falls. But this guy doesn't even finish his first shake before he starts plummeting. It's a near instant drop. And he doesn't even follow the rhythm of the other icicles. You see, each one triggers once you pass the previous, but this guy triggers when you get close to the sun entering the tunnel. That's pretty close. What a dick. Okay, let's summarize this spiky cylinder. Icicle Impalement is brief, but it's a big part of Cool Edge for me. When you're boosting through here, the slopes of the track are really aggressive, so it's fun to catch air while still making some cinematic dodges, and they give you so much room to navigate. It lets you freestyle on each replay. And hey, big empty room, yet again emphasizing how big and barren Cool Edge is trying to appear. I don't even need a tiny Sonic the Blue Blur, you see it for yourself. The navigation is still tricky with the way they use the icicles, and I'm grinning ear to ear, sprinting through it all. Fun! But prepare your jaws, for they are about to drop as we hit the big time in Cool Edge, and witness the deep freeze direction. This is why I replay Cool Edge. This right here, this exact part, utilizing the photorealistic world of Unleashed, allows for some incredible backdrops on our thrilling set pieces. But for this one, the backdrop is the set piece. For once, I see beyond the thrill. Rather, I am looking up at the beautiful tapestry they are weaving before me. This is not exciting. This is breathtaking, even if it is just one straight line. So let's start running. Icicle Impalement is obviously muted color-wise because we're in a tunnel, but it really helps sell our exit here. All that muddy green suddenly transforms to bright white and dark blue. The sun is beaming so ferociously. You can see the beams streaking past every triangle jumping out of the sea. Even the water catches that bright white glow. But oh yeah, water! Your first meaty water running moment in Unleashed. I believe Dragon Road sells it a bit more because you need to work to survive it. Cool Edge has these safety islands with dash pads everywhere. There's not much risk, but I don't think they want you looking at the water. They want you looking up at the sky. Look at all those glaciers, twisting in fun shapes. Shapes like triangle. And what's this? Circle as well. A sneaky circle, because it's not a real circle. It's just triangles that curve into a circle. Cool Edge, you son of a... But it's not like these guys are gonna do anything. Let's blast ahead, where you will see an actual circle and this raised platform. This thing curves ever so slightly to the left, and you gotta follow form to make it onto that next dash ramp. It's a simple maneuver, but it feels so satisfying. Visually, it's a rewarding action. You're threading the needle, thin ledge to make it through big circle. The ice calving around us removes the busy surroundings and narrows our sights on the goal. Plus, they put a little dip on the right edge to make it feel like you're sliding off. And finally, they pull the camera back just a smidge right as you climb onto the ramp, which makes your dash through the thin bridge feel especially quick. Okay, onto our last stretch, where we complete our twirl and land on these dash pads. They cut your boost here, so you start your run slowing down on water, which is a little tense. But look at all these bozos crowding the way. Yeah, not much of a resistance, considering your exit is already open. The overhang again makes kind of a circle, and then we're speeding down an open canyon. And when our bounce pads pop in, we see our ending. But oh god, whale reveal! We readjust his spine with our own 2 feet, and Sonic gets oh so tiny. Oh so tiny. Cool Edge, big place. Our hero, tiny Sonic. And now we get what we wanted earlier, blasted by this thing's blowhole. Do not take that out of context. And our whale even says hello. Plus the angle makes it look like he's smiling. Alright, you guys seem chill, so I need you to keep a secret for me. Since this segment is so automated, whenever I run through this level, I instinctively just wave to this thing in real life. It's like muscle memory at this point. I don't even smile. I feel like I gotta reward him somehow. And now, you must do the same. Always remember to thank your whale, folks. But we got about 5 hours before Sonic touches down. Let's reverse the direction. If the goal of Cool Edge is to make Holoska feel big, then Deep Freeze direction is slam dunking it. Even with all the triangles crowding the water, the ocean feels endless. And it kinda is. Like, if you boost off the beaten path here, you just keep going and going and going. And I did not find a rocket out there, I swear to God. I do think this segment is pretty on rails. Your water running is handheld a bunch with the dashpad islands. There is a necessity to grab the rings to survive, but each island is gonna solve that problem for you. It's X down, thumbstick forward. However, if there was ever a moment that did not need to care about gameplay, this is near the top of the list. Deep Freeze direction is all spectacle. The narrow iceberg almost feels like an interruption in that sense, but it's successful in making Sonic feel dwarfed within the setting. Huge place, insane speeds, right? I honestly think it's up there with the best Sonic shots in history. It just looks real, man. It looks like real life. Makes me appreciate the beauty of the Arctic, a place I've never been. As a guy, I'll never be. Thanks, Sonic. High marks from the eye guy. Congratulations. Just get out of here. All right, keep it together, Adam. Okay, Sonic is finally landing his feet, so let's bonk 3 robots and stomp another switch. And this is the stomp switch I prefer. You see how you can just float Sonic to the top after your final bonk? It's good flow. And now we speed into Cool Edge's only foot-focused 2D section, Gallivant Glacier. Foot focused. Bet that gets you excited, you little freak. No bobsled this time. We're taking it with our hedge legs. And we've got a fantastic intro. Yet again, another circle, but this time in the dark. Our exit cries out at us, light breaching the dim tunnel. It looks like we're boosting into the great beyond. But no, it's just snow. Sideways we go. But let's forego the ring and stomp down below. You know how I am about my 2D in Unleashed. I think it kind of kneecaps the speedy fun. But Gallivant Glacier is not one of those areas, because this thing is decorated decorated with wild slopes and endless track elements. The camera gets tight and just starts throwing us into rings and springs. The progression is rapid. Even the egg spring they threatened us with helps our combo. Hey, wait, what the hell is this? The cube? Get out! Wait, stay. Cube, you're actually alright. You wanna know why? Because I don't even have to touch you, you four-cornered fuck. I can just jump when I land and home up to the spring. So long, square. Never talk to me ever again. Oh god, spikes! The final dash rings will send us to 2 annoying robots. And finally, a stomp fest to our escape. But what if we want to skip the slopes, the rings, and the springs? Let's reverse back to the start. You're gonna need the wall jump for this, so it's a replay skip, but if we hop to that rainbow ring, we will land above all the 2D. Our camera zooms way out, and the penguins stand ready to watch as you rocket off the platform. But where do we land? Right at the 2 annoying robots. And you know my ass is getting cubed. The irony, it stings! Not only is it gratifying, but it also looks amazing. Cinematic detach for the rocket ignition, clear focus on the background. It's a very visual shortcut. But now that we got time to think, Gallivant Glacier. Let's speak our mind. And if I may be frank, I don't mind this. Even the punishment path here is very thrilling, and the layout is delightfully absurd. The glacier also has its own little shortcuts within the punishment path. Boosting on the dash ramp will let you skip the egg spring. You can boost through the ice walls without ever touching the cube, and you don't need to kill those robots. You can just jump right over them. Plus, you get a satisfying shortcut, which is our big indicator for this segment. You feel so small on the ramp and when transposed upon the background. If you're looking for a challenge, I do believe it's a little weak, but the combo of track elements makes it a quick completion. One of the rare times where I don't mind taking a 2D punishment path. Alright, let's finish our stomps. Sonic exits the glacier by getting back in the 3rd dimension, and he takes this clean corkscrew. Hey, look! Another circle. Sonic then sprints over a thin ice bridge, calving apart as we run along. And my favorite little thing about this scene is that they squeeze the bridge from our perspective. Like, look at it halfway through the scene. Sonic is speeding right on the edge here. Also, check out the bounce pad. That thing has nothing on its left side by the end of it. Way to ring out a bit more thrill. Let's take the jump, get behind Sonic, and prepare for our final segment. Terminus Toboggan. You look a little down, son. How about some more sledding to finish things off? This ending is long, nearly a minute, but it's the most engaging sleigh ride, and a challenging one at that. Off we go. The first section is like a miniaturized version of Cool Runnings' 3D. Similar enemy placement, similar spike placement. Things just come at you quicker, and there's a jump at the start and end. Next section has you falling into a line of egg fighters, and the grouping is pretty obvious. This is your reminder that you should be aiming at them, but now we got bombs instead of spike balls. Good news, I did check, and these also hurt you, FYI. Ramps will appear on either side, and then the track will drop 3 times. But this is another thing that can give you some trouble, because you can't change direction mid-jump. Kinda like 06's Mach Speed. Those who jumped on a slope before a pit learned this the hard way. And then we have our bridge, your biggest out-of-bounds danger, and this is where our single enemy lies, because we are aiming for robots, and this one dude swings early. He can shake you for some rings, and if you're in an awkward spot, you might bounce off the bridge. A left swerve is the smart action, but on such a narrow path, that can mean death, so be careful. Our final chunk is pretty simple. Swerve right, swerve left, and hang on tight, because you lose your right wall, which means you're battling the thumbstick to not slide into oblivion. Thankfully, the dash pads are generous and steer you in the right direction. And then we take a final leap into a crowd of penguins. Sorry guys, that was kind of a lot, but it's what I wanted, because Terminus Toboggan actually adds some difficulty to this fun solo stage mechanic. This is what I was looking for in Cool Runnings. There's real risk of falling off, and there's a real incentive to collecting robots. This is your last chance to rack up points, and on replays, my goal is not survival, it's how many enemies can I run over. Visually, it suffers from too much shade. That icy bottom yet again comes off as muddy brown and green. Makes you miss the fluffy white snow we were bombarded with earlier. And as for our huge Cool Edge motif, it is funny that our final area keeps us in such a small, cramped spot. Not a lot of big here until we hit the final dash ramp, and there's Cool Edge again. Massive ocean, massive landscape. So Terminus Toboggan does not irk me as much as Cool Runnings, and I do wonder how we could restructure the bobsledding in Cool Edge. Make it rewarding and less of an interruption to the flow. I'd say the speed is already there, and I enjoy the mechanics in 3D. My theory is if we snapped Terminus Toboggan in half, used the first chunk to overwrite Cool Runnings Part 1, and then just removed Cool Runnings Part 2, you'd have challenging bobsled runs around 25 seconds each, which don't overstay their welcome. The obvious move is to cut the whales, but don't cut the whales. I like the whales. Maybe add a wave button, I don't know. But with the ocean in our eyes, our final sledding speedway is finished. Let's hold on tight, make the leap, and complete Cool Edge. Uh-oh. Okay, Sonic's sled just hit a small penguin, and now everyone's looking at me. But before I deal with that, how does Cool Edge make you feel? For me, I feel like I'm sprinting through a nature documentary. Unleashed's emphasis is on photorealism, and Cool Edge amplifies that by solely being about nature. You meet no humans, see no structures, just the remnants of people gone from the track and Eggman populating it with his badniks. It's so centered on the landscape of Holoska. For once, the flag feels like it represents a geographical location, not a civilization. And with that pretense, Cool Edge leans into its environment and makes you experience the massive expanse of the Arctic. You see so much nature because you are so small. Dwarfed by every iceberg, every whale, the tunnels are made for giants. The oceans go on forever. That's why I say breathtaking when speaking on the deep freeze direction. It's the natural beauty of our world on full display, and we're experiencing it as never before, as Sonic the Hedgehog. But how is that experience gameplay-wise? Well, let's be honest, it's very simple. Sure, Cool Edge is an early stage, but even Windmill Isle feels like it splits more than this icy track. The only time you take a turn is when those slippery ice walls slide in, at the speedway or on the sled. Otherwise, you're boosting forward a majority of the time. Be that as it may, there are still some split-second reactions. A tiny hop at the pipeline, dodging the egg blizzards, straddling the ledge out at sea. You're taking in the wonder, but you still gotta be on guard, in a sense. The real crutch comes from the bobsled, however. A mechanic that handles perfectly fine, it just overshadows the act. If you hear anyone bring this level up, they'll either defend it or lament it, but it's always in the conversation, isn't it? Which is disappointing when Cool Edge has some of the most stunning spectacle shots of this entire game. Deep freeze direction blows my mind. I play that level for that moment. And let's face a little bit of my own bullshit. A lot of my critiques were looks so good, plays too easy. But much of what I wanted is remedied in the bonus acts, mainly the DLC. These extra outings bump up the challenge by populating the easy sprints with a lot of danger. The bobsleds are enhanced, the lines are now swivels, and they even make a whole act out of that slippery speedway. And I still haven't S-ranked it. It's one of the only ones I have to do left. It deserves a bonus video, surely, but when focusing on just Cool Edge, I have to mention it, because they know how to make us engage with this track. They just remembered that it was an early one and took a lot out of it, leaving the place feeling barren. But they're in turn propping up the large, expansive vibe to insane degrees. It's a funny dichotomy, because reducing the track, making it easier, their solution still leaves me satisfied, because I think it bumps up that main motif. Big. I still enjoy boosting through Cool Edge. It's a beautiful track. I think it's one of the best. It feels so real. And when I went to squint my eyes and pretend I am the fastest thing alive, I come to Holoska. It still leaves me in awe. Cool Edge is like a break from the adventure. Somewhere Sonic goes where he's met with silence. I mean, Chip isn't even with him at the intro. He's finally got some alone time with the planet. After propping up the nations of the world, we finally stop at a location that is centered on the Earth itself. What it has to offer without our interference. A vast, grand, natural landscape. A blank canvas for Sonic to run free. That is Cool Edge to me. Alright, everyone wave goodbye to the whale, and let's slide into the outro. As that is how we will leave things today. But yo, what do you think about Cool Edge? Do you adore this icy track? Can you take or leave the bobsled? And did you wave to the whale? You better wave to the whale, man, I swear. Also, is this anyone's favorite? Unleashed has so many heavy hitters, I was curious if this topped anyone's list. I know I've talked to some of you about it. While it sits pretty low on my own, it still nails the spectacle for me, and I find it in a lot of my replay rotations. Sonic Unleashed, you are very good at making day stages. Anywho, the next episode. So I was gonna do a big, huge comparison following this one, but for the first time ever, I was not excited to make another video. It just seemed so miserable, and I knew if I forced myself to, it would just make the episode worse. So I think I'm just gonna take a legit break this time. Not a break where I make something else, just a week break where I do nothing and think about what I've done, and then come back with something out of left field, which means there are no plans. I'm just gonna decide after I give it some thought. I have a couple of ideas, but I want to see which ones get me the most excited, and then I'll chase that. Apologies, honestly, I know comparisons are like the big thing that people come here for, but maybe this will let us tackle some smaller suggestions people have been offering, or some really weird stages that I've always wanted to do. And once I'm feeling happy again, we can get back into the comparisons. Those are never going away, have no fear. I just want to make sure I make them good for you, you know? Anyways, if If you liked the video, you know what to do. I genuinely appreciate your patience going forward. We're about to hit 1 full year of Ajax in a couple of days. That's crazy. I'll write up a little community post for that on the 30th. National Ajax Day. No school. Tell your teachers. Whatever. All right, I will catch you all again once I sort some stuff out. Thanks for watching. Love you guys. So long, and peace.